Hello and welcome to all. Since Lionel Messi signed for PSG, he and Kylian Mbappé form an infernal duo that causes cold sweats to opposing defenses. The two superstars have indeed become very complicit on the field, and despite their huge differences, the current has no trouble to pass, to the great displeasure of the goalkeepers, who end up shocked. But speaking of these similarities, it would be interesting to be able to list them in order to learn a little bit more about these two living legends of soccer. So make yourself comfortable, because today we're going to discover the 10 differences between Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappé. One of the most anecdotal differences that exist between the two star footballers lies in their dominant laterality, or if you prefer, whether they are left or right-handed. Thanks to Messi's fearsome free kicks, the whole universe knows that he hits with his left foot, and we can say that he hits pretty well. Our national Kylian is a right-handed player who can beat the goalkeepers with the strength and precision of his shots. The comparison could stop there if we wish, since we know who is right-handed and who is left-handed. However, the case is much deeper than it seems, since both players have in fact a crossed laterality. This means that if Messi is left-handed, well, when he wants to sign autographs or checks, it is his right hand that he will use, while Mbappé, who plays with his right foot, is in fact left-handed in his hands. Thus, what should be a notable difference between the two players paradoxically reveals itself as a common point between them. Now that we know who is left-handed and who is not, we will focus on another notable difference between our two Parisian stars. It is the position that each of them occupies on the field, because we know it only too well. In soccer, it is often the position of the player that can make the difference. And although our two PSG colleagues are ultra versatile in attack, being able to play as well on the axis as on the wings, it remains that they are clearly more efficient if they are placed according to their own styles of play and according to their own appetites. Leo Messi is a right winger by nature, using his terrible left foot to the best advantage and making a mess of the opponent's defense. You will find a lot of defenders from Getafe or Real Madrid, to name but a few, who will have no trouble telling you about their problems with the Pulga when he was playing at Barca, and especially about his lightning breakthroughs from the right wing. And when you see the breathtaking images of these sprints, you realize that the Argentine is almost impossible to counter when he enters this corridor. The position of right winger is therefore the one that best suits Messi, and PSG has understood this, just like the Catalan club at the time. As for Mbappé, who can boast of being one of the best strikers of his generation, he is in essence a center forward. Indeed, the strength and power of his right foot, as well as his Ferrari-like speed, allow him to run up and down the field, always looking for a goal opportunity. Kylian Mbappé doesn't hesitate to take part in the defensive work to recover the ball, to launch then a dazzling counterattack. This position of center forward allows him to make the most of his formidable abilities of speed and technicality, making him a truly outstanding attacker. We were talking about speed earlier, and as it is one of the most important skills in the world of high-level soccer, we're going to tell you about the difference between the Argentine and the French, stopwatch in hand. We already know that our two superstars of PSG are both real speedsters on the field, who run like cheetahs on the field. But there is still a big difference between the breathless sprints of the two players, as you will see. Indeed, the rocket Mbappé is able to propel himself at more than 37.6 km per hour on the grass, which makes him one of the fastest players on the planet, and even the fastest with his feet, according to some rather reliable sources, by the way. Our little Argentinian was able to push up to 32.5 km per hour, but it must be said that this was at the height of his career with Barca a few years ago. Thus, Messi, who was regularly ranked as one of the fastest footballers, finally plummeted to the bottom of the rankings, until he no longer appeared there. At 34 years old, the Argentine is not as explosive as he was in his 20s, but even if he is not as fast as he used to be, his lightning attacks are still a real nightmare for goalkeepers. We couldn't list the differences between Messi and Mbappé without mentioning their respective achievements. You will probably have guessed it yourself. Considering the legendary soccer epic of Messi at Barca, the palmares of the two players are separated by a huge gap. Lionel Messi has won almost everything, lining up the most prestigious trophies and titles, and collecting the most incredible records. The Argentine is the only player in the history of soccer to have won 7 golden balls, a feat that may never be equaled again. But the 7-time Golden Ball winner can also be proud of his countless achievements, each more formidable than the last. Lionel Messi has won 4 Champions Leagues, 3 FIFA Club World Cups, 3 UEFA Super Cups, 10 Spanish Championships, 7 Spanish Cups, and 8 Spanish Super Cups. And these are only the official titles, because the Argentine is known to have broken many records throughout his career with Barca. He was the only player to win 5 times in a row the prestigious trophy of top scorer of the Spanish Championship. He is also the best scorer in the history of La Liga, as well as the best scorer in the history of FC Barcelona in official matches. The list is still too long, and to enumerate everything, we would have to lengthen this video by a good 30 minutes. It's difficult for the young Parisian to compete with Messi, but this is also explained by the fact that Mbappé is still very young, and his professional career has just begun. Nevertheless, the Parisian displays records and ultra-prestigious titles in the world of professional soccer, such as the 2018 World Cup, which he won with the Blue in Russia. And since he has been at PSG, Mbappé has also added to his record with 3 League One titles, but also the French Cup in 2018, 2020, and 2021. The League Cup in 2018, as well as the Champions Trophy in 2019 and 2020. Let's move on to another dissimilarity existing between the couple Messi and Mbappé, and this one concerns this time the number of goals scored so far by the two strikers. Here again, a very notable difference is immediately obvious because the professional career of Mbappé is much more recent than that of Messi. The Argentine is the author of more than 750 goals in his career and involved in more than 1,000 goals, which makes him the 3rd best scorer of all time in official games. A difficult record to beat for the young native of Bondi, but not impossible. Mbappé is indeed already at more than 201 goals on the counter and does not intend to stop in such a good way. The 2022 season is likely to be very hot in League One, with these 2 terrible goal machines released in the wild. And what about the style of play? This is a question that raises a huge difference between the two players, which we will introduce to you now. Indeed, both are outstanding strikers with almost breathtaking performances, but each has his own distinctive style of play, a bit like his trademark or signature. Messi is an outstanding dribbler who, thanks to his powerful little legs, can accomplish at the last moment dazzling accelerations that have the gift of destabilizing defenders. His control of the ball is also legendary, since he is able to cover more than a half of the field with almost all the opposing players at his heels, without ever getting the ball off his foot. As for Mbappé, his speed and physical strength have allowed him to forge a completely different style of play, more focused on sprinting and ball recovery work. The young Parisian is indeed known to go to seek the ball in defense, then to counter-attack with a point of speed almost lightning. Mbappé also manages to exploit the space in the back of the opponents very well, which gives him an asset of weight during the meetings. What if we talk to you about cash now, by listing, for example, the market value of Messi and Mbappé and the rather remarkable difference that exists between the 2 star players of PSG? Well, the difference is rather huge, as you will see, because you have to know that in the soccer world, the older you are, the less money you are worth on the transfer market. Thus, Lionel Messi, who is now at the dawn of his 35 years, is not worth more than 60 million euros. You could say that this is not bad, since we are talking about such a stratospheric sum, and you would certainly not be wrong. However, this value is still very far from the 180 million euros that the native of Rosario was worth in 2018 when he was at the top of his art and his glory at Barca. And it is even more so when compared with the market value Kylian Mbappé, which it is close to 160 million euros. And given that the Real of Madrid is looking with great attention on the young French, this amount could climb even more. We still remain in the monetary field, but this time in order to evoke you the big difference that exists between the respective fortunes of our two footballers. Here again, the huge gap between the two PSG players is based on the seniority and the almost legendary myth of Messi during the last decade. Thus, thanks to his fabulous salaries at FC Barcelona, as well as his contracts of sponsors and advertisements for brands, the Argentine became literally billionaire. Lionel Messi has indeed earned a total of $875 million in salary and bonuses, as well as $350 million in sponsorship contracts throughout his career. The native of Rosario can therefore boast of having joined the very small club of billionaire sportsmen, which includes legendary names such as golfer Tiger Woods, boxer Floyd Mayweather, tennis player Roger Federer, or even his longtime rival footballer Cristiano Ronaldo. But then, what about our dear national Kylian Mbappé? And to what extent the difference in wealth is enormous compared to his teammate of PSG? Well, it must be said that between the two players, there is no comparison that can be established. The native of Bondi does not even have a tenth of the total wealth of Messi. With $95 million, the young Parisian's fortune is still very far from his famous teammate. And to close this exciting video, we're going to talk to you about a rather unusual difference between our two superstars of Paris Saint-Germain. It is about their love status, a point that once again highlights the great dissimilarity that exists between the two. Thus, Messi is married with his childhood friend, Antonella Roccuzzo, and he knows since the age of 5 years, while Mbappé is single and still looking for true love. And that's it for today. What do you think about these 9 differences between the two superstars of Paris Saint-Germain? Tell us in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to put a like and subscribe and activate the notifications. See you soon for new discoveries out of the ordinary.